So you love driving, but the fuel expenses are off the charts. Maybe you want to drift a lot, but the tire and tuning expenses are worrisome. Maybe you want to drive around in your favorite racetrack, but you live too far away. Or maybe you want to drive your car up that beautiful mountain in your backyard, but you don't have a rock crawler because your wife does not approve of it. The list goes on and on. And this is exactly where sim racing bridges the gap. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this 5.5 Newton meter power packed review of Moza R5. This video has been made possible by Virtual Racing Hub, the one-stop shop for all your sim racing needs in India. Whether you are in need of a sturdy rig or a certain sim racing product, they have got you covered. And if you are planning on purchasing from them, use my code DARTSNAPE to get 10% off on most products. All the links are in the description box down below. They say happiness comes in small packages. But in the world of sim racing, this hasn't necessarily been the case. Because you see, sometimes the boxes are really big and heavy, while other times they are small and, well, still sort of heavy. And such is the case with the Moza's R5 bundle. This little offering from Moza includes the 5.5 Newton meter wheelbase, the ES wheel which features the NRG style quick release, and the SRP light pedals, which do not come with a clutch because that is sold separately. Also, a side note, these are Hall sensor pedals, not load cells. This bundle comes at a sweet price of $500 if you are looking to upgrade from your existing non-DD setup, or if this is your first ever wheelbase, you are in for a treat. Moza brought some heat with the introduction of R5. It was introduced after R9 and is considered an entry-level DD. But what if you're thinking about R9? Well, to that I would say, why not R5? As much as I want to, I would rather not talk about how it feels amazing or how smooth it is when I turn the steering or anything like that. Because what I'm feeling is not going to help you, right? And let's be honest, there's no fun in that. Because in the end, you will still have questions such as which one to pick between R5 and R9? Is it enough? Or should you even go for R5 considering it only has a peak torque of 5.5 Newton meters? So instead of talking about obvious stuff, let's talk about why R5 is an amazing base and how Moza was able to achieve the same things on R5 in contrast to the R9. Okay? Good. So if you're unfamiliar with the price of this bundle, it sells at about $500, which is a great deal. But should you buy it just because it is priced appropriately? Let's find out. So the thing which makes R5 stand out, and quite simply the best thing about it, is its encoder resolution, which is 15-bit. If you don't know what an encoder is, it is a sensor which is responsible for determining the position of the motor. And oftentimes you might have come across this term while talking about certain bases from manufacturers such as Fanatec or Simucube or Moza itself. But what exactly is this 15-bit of resolution in Moza R5, and why should you care? Let me explain. A bit is a binary unit, which means 15-bit is equal to 2 to the power 15, which is 32,768 ppr or pulses per revolution. Now this is the exact same resolution that you will get on a Moza R9, meaning whatever you would feel in an R9, it can be felt on an R5 too, minus the higher torque, obviously. So if you are still confused, don't worry, let me put it this way. The higher the resolution, the better the details will be on the force feedback. Obviously, this isn't the only factor on which the details depend upon. Of course, the type of motor matters as well. But generally speaking, the better the resolution is, the smoother the base feels, and the more details you encounter. While the R5 and R9 are stated as having 15-bit of encoder resolution, the R16 and R21 have 18-bit. What does that mean? It means that each time you have to calculate the resolution, you just have to do simple math on exponents, or ask Google as to what is 2 to the power 18. And the answer is 262,144 ppr. Pretty simple, right? So now when you know what a resolution is, Does that mean you should simply assume that higher resolution means a better feeling DD? Well, to some degree, yes. The higher you go up in terms of resolution, the minimal the difference becomes. Such as an 18-bit SimMagic Alpha U would be very close to, say, a 22-bit VRS Direct Force Pro or SimuCube 2 Pro. But now we are approaching the territory of subjectivity again. Because force feedback still has a big role to play, and some people might not even feel the difference when dialing an 18-bit bass and a 22-bit bass to their liking. Sure, they might be able to spot the difference jumping back and forth, because while the difference will be there, it just won't be that significant. With that said, I hope you have a better understanding of why the R5 is a great entry-level bass and why it feels very close to an R9. Now you may be wondering that while R5 checks all the boxes for an entry-level DD, what is the catch here? Well, Moza knows what a customer wants. They know their market and they are very well aware of the thing that force feedback is the only factor which makes or breaks the experience. And that's exactly what they did. They did an outstanding job on making the wheelbase and software experience a delight. But they paid a little bit less attention to the ES rim. And in my opinion, it is the only thing which holds the R5 back. Upon unboxing, I found the leather to be comforting, the buttons to be clicky, and the build quality to be slightly average. You see, while the R5 is a fantastic bass, it loses some points on the rim's build quality. They did a fantastic job with their wheelbase, and I understand that for a delightful experience, the force feedback has to deliver, which it does. But I don't know, I was a little bit unimpressed with the overall build of the rim, considering how well built and premium their CS and GS rims are. I remember when I held my CS for the first time, I was pretty much blown away by the quality. And once you have experienced that solid construction, you're bound to expect something like that, but on a lower price range, without a whole lot of compromises. The wheel's structural integrity did not feel like other rims that Moza offers. I understand that ES is priced significantly lower than their CS, but the cost cutting affected my experience a little bit. Now the easy solution would be to use a different rim, such as CS, right? Maybe. Let me explain. Because the ES weighs around 1 kilograms, the bass has little to no problem on rotating it, whereas the CS weighs around 2.5 kilograms, which means if you use a heavier rim, the motor has to work harder to rotate the wheel because of the added weight and diameter. And since the overall output of the bass is limited to 5 Newton meters, the R5 will have a hard time. Don't get me wrong, it will still be usable, but you might lose some details. Also, I found the oscillation to be outright evident. I'm not sure what causes it, but fiddling with damping and inertia quickly solved it. But if we keep the force feedback matter aside, which obviously is highly subjective, my only issue with R5 bundle remains the average build quality of ES. If Moza could improve upon this, this bundle would be a solid starter pack. If you have watched my video of the switch from Moza R9 to Alpha U, you might remember that I said that it's not simply about the torque output, it is about how it is being delivered. And that is where the software support comes in. For example, you can have the best track racing car, but if you're planning on using off-road tires on a sunny day on tarmac, chances are you might finish first, but from the bottom of the leaderboard. In order for you to have a better chance of winning, you need proper tires. Similarly, you can have a 30 Newton meter wheelbase, but if the software is lackluster, the bass won't be able to put all of that power to use. But luckily that is not the case with Moza Pithouse. The UI is very clean and beginner friendly. A bunch of preloaded profiles are present with which you can play around just in case you are struggling to set up your own force feedback settings. You also get this frequency slider with which you can increase certain frequencies. For instance, if I want a bit more feel in the sand, I can simply increase this and voila, more feedback on the sand. I tried to make this segment a bit longer, but because the software is so well done, I don't have a lot of words to say about it, except job well done. When it comes to buying a wheelbase, console compatibility remains the primary deciding factor. Although the R5 bundle is a really great starter pack for anyone looking for a step up in their sim racing journey, it lacks console compatibility, which a lot of people, including myself, was really looking forward to it. While some users have been able to make it work on PlayStation 5 using a converter such as this one, it does not work flawlessly. So for now, Moza's DDs are PC only. So if you play on Xbox or PlayStation, you might want to consider something else from Fanatec or Logitech. Now that you're here, I'm going to assume that you have watched the whole video. If you plan on buying this, I recommend that you go back and watch it completely so that you can have a clear understanding of what is being brought to the table. And what Moza brought to the table is something which has heated the competition quite a bit. The R5 base holds itself amongst their 9Nm wheelbase while being priced considerably lower. Even if you do manage to get an R5 instead of an R9, you won't be disappointed, because frankly speaking, this does not feel like a 5Nm base at all. The details are as good as it can get. I haven't noticed any notchiness at all. And the best of all, this bundle is for people who are looking for an upgrade from their existing setups. I'm sure the pedals would be the first thing you would want to upgrade as they are not load cells, but when you look at the pricing of this thing, you won't be able to nitpick. Let me know what you think of this video, or if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. I have been Darth Snape, and may the downforce be with you.